Hey guys, so this episode I want to talk about narcissists and how they like to have sex with strangers. This is really hard for me to talk about because it's absolutely heartbreaking, but it needs to be said because people need to be aware of what's going on. Now, narcissists use sex. Let me just give you an overview. Narcissists use sex as a way to entrap you. And that's why narcissists are extremely sexually aggressive, like immediately when they meet you, like because it's a weapon for them. It's a tool for them to hook you. So now for me, with my narcissist, I made him wait. I made him wait because I'm not comfortable doing that. Like that's just, and even when I did end up sleeping with him for the first time, I still wasn't ready. But so I went against my better judgment and, I slept with him before I really wanted to. But, it's okay. Whatever, stuff happens. So, narcissists, they use sex to manipulate you, control you, and eventually sex is actually used to degrade their partners, and they try to force their partners to engage in really degrading sexual acts. They're always trying to cross boundaries and just really push the boundary, and it's not meant because they want to have, because they love you. They're doing it because they want to humiliate you and control you and dominate you, and it's extremely degrading. And I know in one of my like movie trailer videos that I did, I talk about how he used, sex during sex. Like I would lay there and cry and he just kept going and going and he didn't care. And he said, so I remember, I think the first time this happened, I was, we were having sex, and he had, that was after I found out he was living a double life with another woman, and it was just, I shouldn't have been there anyway, but I was trauma bonded, and I loved him. But after that first time I was laying there crying, and he didn't care. He kept having sex with me, he just kept going and going. And when we were done, I was like, man, I just didn't enjoy that. And he said, oh, I know, I could tell. And I'm like, what do you mean you could tell? Like, why would you keep going if you could tell? He said, well, I could tell because you just couldn't stay wet. And I said, why would you, who in their right mind would want to keep having sex with somebody that's laying there crying? They're absolutely not enjoying it. I mean, he knew that. But this is what I mean. Like, it's meant to humiliate you and degrade you. Now, I'm not saying it was like this all the time. And because I view narcissism as something spiritual, so like I was saying, it wasn't like that every time, but there were quite a few times that happened, and it was just so, well, it was creepy and sinister. And other people that, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have had similar experience with narcissists. It becomes very robotic, weird, cold, disconnected, and they don't care. You see, you're not a person when these things are happening. You're just something that they're using to 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 fill their needs, to get that narcissistic supply. And honestly, they enjoy it more when they know that they're harming you and degrading you and humiliating you. I mean, that is a power trip for them. And so this is very heartbreaking. But so another reason why narcissists have sex with, this is about narcissists having sex with strangers, and I'll get to this in a minute. But a lot of the times, the reason why okay, so one of the reasons why narcissists will have sex with strangers is because they get bored easily. I mean, they could have, the best partner at home that loves them and is, providing their every need sexually. However, if somewhere in the narc's life they're not getting the type of supply they need, or they're not getting enough, or their supply needs aren't being met, they will go out and have sex with strangers. They don't care about the gender. They don't care about the looks, because that's not what it's about. It's about narcissistic supply. It's about a power trip, domination, control, humiliation, and they just don't care. They only care about their own needs, okay, when they're engaging in these type of acts. So, and again, narcissists see sex as a performance, not as So narcissists see sex as a performance. They're putting on a show. You know, like it's again, it's to fuel their ego. It's for fuel, narcissistic supply. And when they feel like, they're putting on a good performance, well, then you're going to give them extra awesome praise. Oh, you did a good job. Good boy. Like it's really, it's just so heartbreaking. So let me tell you, now, like, for me, the first time my ex-narc came to my home, it was like our first date. He, we were laying there, we were kissing, making out, whatever. And I didn't even realize that he had stripped himself naked and was naked on top of me. And he had all intent, the very first time we hung out, to have sex with me. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part about narcs having sex with anyone and anything, well, narcissists are notorious for not practicing safe sex. They, sleep with anyone, go out and do all these things with strangers, then come back home to their partners, and they never use protection. Like, never. Never, never, never. It's so rare that a narc care. They don't care. They don't care if they're spreading something to you. They don't care. They don't care about you, okay? The sex is meant to fuel them. And what I'm going to tell you happened to me, because it just makes me sad. You think that you know someone, okay? And I thought I knew this man. I thought that he, maybe he just had a slip up and things happen and stuff happens in relationships. But what I'm about to tell you really shook the story I'm about to tell you really, as I was saying, really it shook my soul to the absolute core, because you think you know someone and then you find out that you've been sleeping with, dating, practically living with a complete stranger the entire time. Well, this was after he had lived that double life with that woman for a couple months, and I shouldn't have went back. But again, I was trauma bonded, and when you're trauma bonded, a trauma bond is an equivalent to a heroin addiction. It's the same brain chemicals. It's awful. And on top of that, I actually did love him. It wasn't just a trauma bond. I actually did love this man. And one night, him and all his buddies were over at his place drinking, and I wasn't drinking, so I stayed sober and made their beer runs or whatever, and they were just drunk. Well, bedtime, he passes out drunk as usual, okay, so I don't want to make this video too long because it doesn't sit well with my spirit, and it's very, very, makes me very upset. So let me just get to the point. So passed out drunk, friends around the place passed out drunk, and so I'm in bed with him. We fall asleep. Well, he had his cell phone plugged into like an amplifier speaker downstairs, and his alarm, I don't know, for whatever reason, in the middle of the night just started going off. Well, everybody was drunk and passed out, even though it was blaring loud through the whole place. It didn't wake anybody up because they're drunk and passed out. So I have to get up and shut it off. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I have his password to his phone, but I don't go through people's things because I just don't do that. It's not cool. You don't go through people's stuff, and that's weird. Like, who wants to go through other people's stuff anyway? I don't get it. But so the alarm was going off, and just loud. So I get up and I go downstairs to this. All right, so I make my way downstairs, and there's the phone plugged into the amplifier, and I'm just like, oh, make it stop. Well, when I go grab the phone, and I swipe it, and I have to put in, a password to shut the alarm off. Well, before I even got a chance to get that far, his Facebook Messenger was popped up. And this makes me sick to my stomach. Like I said, you think you know somebody. When I swiped the phone open, there were messages. And if you know how Facebook Messenger works, it pops up them bubbles, and you don't actually have to open the message to read it. You can just see the things. Well, after I saw what I saw, I opened up the message because I guess I thought maybe it was going to be an accident by some stranger and that it couldn't possibly be a message for him or a comment. Well, the message that I saw, I can't even remember exactly what it says, but it was disturbing, and it was something about hooking up and having sex with him. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why is my boyfriend getting text from this person about them two having sex? So it wasn't the only one. So I opened it because I'm like, what the hell? And first of all, it bothered me to even have to open that up because I just don't believe in doing that. And when I opened it up, it was a conversation with a strange person. He didn't know the person, and he was soliciting strangers for sex. But it wasn't just one person. There were like 3 or 4 different messages all on his Facebook with strange women. And he was saying, hey, asking them for sex, send me naked pictures, let's hook up, let's meet up. And I read one conversation where he said to the girl, anyways, in one of the conversations, the girl was like, blah, 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 this and that. And again, I don't even, it's like I have to block it out because it's painful memory. But he actually said to this girl, well, I don't pay for sex. I get it for free. But he was very aggressive in these texts with these females, like very demanding, very entitled. And I thought, oh my God. Can you imagine? You think you know someone, you think that this man is a good man and he just made a mistake, and I keep everybody, oh, he's such a good man, he's such a good guy. And so, I've been gaslit by everyone around me. He's such a good man and blah, 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 blah. He loves you so much. Man, that's not love. It was so disturbing. I could not believe, I still to this day it's disgusting. So yeah, after seeing 3 or 4 different types of messages with strange women with almost exact conversations, just soliciting them for sex. That's all he wanted was sex. And well, I did notice that all these women also did block him. But I was, except for that one message that had popped up, and I was like, oh my God, and I never said anything. And I kept it to myself because what do you say? What do you say to someone when you find something like that? Someone that you love, that you think loves you. And to know that they are just messaging strangers, just picking random women and asking them for sex. I thought, oh my God, man, I have sex with you every day. And you're still out there having sex with strangers. And I'm sorry, you'll have to excuse my eye boogers there. I just, having to even write this, to do this episode, I cry. And I want to cry right now because it's still just, that was a lot. Because, I can see, okay, it happens, fine. But this was multiple people. And I can only begin to imagine how many more there were that I didn't even know about during that whole time and after that moment. So I probably should go now, but I wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, so I'm trying to keep my composure so I can finish this real quick. I wanted you guys to know that this stuff is real and it's serious. And after that, I made sure I went and I got checked at least once every 2 weeks, sometimes every week, because you can't trust it. And because I know how he is with not using protection and how he was with me, I couldn't chance it. And it just, shortly after that, we were pretty much done because I couldn't live with those thoughts. I couldn't understand. Every time I looked at him, I was like, who is this person? Who is this stranger that I'm with? And eventually I put it all together and started doing research and realized what I was dealing with. But I want you guys to just be careful. If there are red flags and that this person is a narcissist, please. So again, please guys, just be careful. Be mindful, pay attention, be aware, and boundaries. And this is why it is so important. And we all are just walking around, just doing what we want to do, but it is so important that you get to know someone before you have sex with them. And I mean get to know them. Because like I said, I have no idea how many others there were and what was really going on when I wasn't around that I had no idea about. I mean, every woman that he was with after we met, he cheated on them with me, but he actually said to me, with that double life he was living with that other woman, he goes, man, well, technically I was cheating on her and not you. And I was like, oh my God, like, wow, you've got an excuse. Okay, guys, well, this was way longer than I expected because it's just really hard for me to get it out and talk about it. So I'll try to do more on this topic at another time. And I love you all very much. Stay beautiful, stay prayed up, and pay attention. Bye, guys.